This is the slideshow for the blush selector created by MJ Reed for BTTM 4160. Imagine you're a new hire in a drugstore cosmetics department. Your training consisted of how to use the cash register and an explanation of the dress code. So they basically taught you how to make change for a customer and told you that you have to wear all black. You're fresh out of high school, you have no training, and a client shows up and asks for a blush recommendation. You know nothing about blush yet, or any of the other products for that matter, but you know you need to make a good impression on the client, and you know you need to impress your boss by making a sale. What do? You would use the blush selector, which is an expert system created to help someone select the right type of blush. It takes input from the user, calculates what blush color, composition, and type is ideal. It considers skin type, personal preferences, age, and race. At the end of the system, it reports the results to the user. Ideally, this program would be used by beauty advisors in sales situations to help them make decisions and to back up their decisions, but it could also be used by online cosmetic retailers. The system could be used by the client in their home as they're shopping and would help them pick a blush that suits them best. It would improve customer satisfaction and reduce returns. So the Corvid system uses a series of rules to help solve the problems it's given. So the sources for my rules came from interviews with various customers. I asked them what types of things they consider. They came back with things like comfort, color, texture, those types of things. And I used myself as an expert for blush selection. I've worked in cosmetics for 8 years, and I've attended many seminars on blushes, and I'm fairly confident in color theory. Two main technical issues were encountered. Because we used Corvid as a trial, I found working with only 250 notes very difficult to deal with. I had to remove a lot of my criterion to make the system work, and because of that, the results and the effectiveness of the system have changed. I was also hindered by my incomplete understanding of collections. I wasted a lot of time trying to use collections improperly to generate useful reports. I feel like that mostly came from not enough information being available to me from Corvid about how to use collections and how they work. There are a lot of variables used in the system. There's a lot more that goes into selecting a blush than most people imagine. So there are static lists that I use, which include client age, skin type, reactivity, ancestry, undertone, favorite shade of red, eczema, and proneness to acne. Confidence variables include liquid and powder, red, pink, rose, plum, tan, and brown, silicone, emollient, talc, and mineral powder. And these confidence variables are used to build the collections at the end, which are product type, composition, and color. I used backwards chaining 3 times during the system. I used it to deduce the customer's skin type if the client says she's 16 to 20 years old. Oily skin is one thing when you're an adult, but oily skin means something completely different when you're in your late teens. It also derives the skin type once again for the acne-prone question. Being acne-prone and being an acne-prone teenager are 2 very different things. So it's important to make the distinction, and the program does that. It also derives the skin type for use in the preferred finish question. If the customer likes a pearly finish, but has an oily skin, they may still need a powdered product, a matte powdered product to give them the pearly finish that they want without ending up looking like an oil slick. So next up, we're going to be demonstrating the system. So for the demonstration, I've invited my friend Darby, and she's going to, we're going to walk her through the process. Thanks for being here.
No troubles.
So, do you find you have an oily skin type, normal or dry?
Probably oily.
Oily? Okay, we'll put that into the system. Do you tend to be reactive? Do products tend to give you a rash or hives or even just itchiness?
Unfortunately, they do. Yes, I have a reactive skin tone.
All right. So, what age category do you fall into here?
The 30 to 40.
Perfect. Okay, and am I correct in assuming that you have an Asian ancestry?
Yes.
Great, we'll put that in the system. That one is really just used to help the system kind of assume what your coloring is. It's not universally true, but most people from a specific cultural background have similar coloring. Okay, and what would you say your undertone is?
Probably yellow.
Okay, we'll put yellow in. And of the 4 choices presented here, which is your favorite shade of red?
Definitely the plum color.
Okay. And do you tend to be acne prone?
No.
Perfect. And do you prefer to apply your products like foundation and blush with a brush or with your fingers?
With a brush.
Good choice. Definitely a smoother application. Okay, and do you prefer a matte or pearly finish?
I prefer a pearly finish.
All right, are you ready to see your results?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the system came up with your product should be a silicone-based product, which is great because silicone doesn't cause people to have any reactions. It's a very neutral product that way. It should be liquid, which is perfect because you like to apply it with a brush and also want a pearly finish. It contributes to both those things. And your ideal color will be somewhere along the rose spectrum.
That sounds great.
All right, thanks so much for helping with the demonstration, Darby.
Thank you.
So the blush selector could definitely be used in a disruptive way, but that's not its ideal intent. If it were used by Shoppers Drug Mart, for example, as the primary method of selecting a product, it would be very disruptive to the beauty advisors because it would change the way they do their job. Completely change it. Ideally, it should only be used to back up their reasoning and to give the customer more confidence. And in that way, it would be a persuasive technology. It would give the customer the confidence to trust the beauty advisor because they would see that a computer backs up their reasoning. And people tend to assume that computers are right all the time. Well, that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email me through Moodle or send me a message through it. And thank you very much.